You are up, Commissioner.
All right, we need to amend the agenda. We added an executive session to our tax discussion today, so I would entertain a motion to amend the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we accept the amended agenda.
All right, we have a motion. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And with that, we are excited to have President Wagner with us here this morning for our quarterly update. So now go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, how's ISU today?
Well, Commissioners, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure. I look forward each time I have to come and meet. Our relationship with the county is very important to me. It's very important to our institution. So thank you. I want you to know I personally, and I think I speak on behalf of the institution, we feel your support. And we very, very much appreciate that. So that's the first thing that I want to say this morning is thank you. Exciting times at Idaho State. It's summer. It's a little quiet. You've probably seen around campus. Good time for a lot of our faculty, of course, to take vacations, staff. But it's also a great time to get some stuff done too. And so campus has been live and well. We've done a number of community events. Our concerts on the quad on Thursday evenings have been well attended by the community. And it's just been a fun to just see how beautiful campus is and have people come. We've had lots of sports camps, youth camps that have brought individuals in from all over the state, the Intermountain West, to Idaho State. Our numbers, our participants of our sports and youth camps have increased. And I think that's great for Idaho State. I think it's great for this area too, to be having so many youth come in. I'd like to give you, just considering the timing, and the next time that I'll visit you will be probably towards the end of fall semester. I thought it would be good for me to give you a preview of things that we're expecting to happen this fall. We're excited for what I think is going to be a very, very successful fall semester. You'll see a few more cars around and a few more people around. Our enrollments are up, and we expect our enrollments this fall to be up considerably. This will be the fourth fall semester in a row that Idaho State University's enrollments will be up. That includes new students as well as continuing students, which means our retention and helping students come back from semester to semester is increasing as well. So you'll see some more people around, and that's the way we like it. That's my goal. We want to see growth, and in a sustainable way, and I think we're off to a great start. Now, with growth comes some challenges too. We're at about 100%, 99% capacity with our beds for our on-campus housing. That's a problem. If we want to continue to see growth, which we do, we have capacity in our buildings for growth. We need more beds. And we appreciate the work within the community to grow on the private side, and we very much appreciate that. Single and multi-person housing, I think, is very important for our goals from an enrollment perspective. But we know too, as an institution, that we have a responsibility to contribute and to meet the housing needs. We are moving forward and have moved forward this summer. We've hired a consultant who specializes in public-private partnership housing developments. They are assisting us right now in putting together a project where we will go out to bid. We expect this fall for one plot of land. It's the parking lot on 4th. That we will go out to bid. We have the support, we believe we have the support of the city, where we will invite private developers to come in and bid for them to build housing on that spot. So our intentions are to solve our housing shortage through public-private partnerships where we have land, we lease the land to the developers will then come in and build. Once we start doing this and we get developers to come in and build, that will allow us to take our existing residence halls offline. They need a lot of work. The problem is we can't afford to take them offline because we need the beds. And so once we have private developers come in and begin building, we'll then be able to start renovating the existing housing that we have. So with success, which we hope to have this fall into spring, we hope as early as 2026 we could see some construction start for a new residence hall, which again for our enrollment goals and our growth is going to be critical. We did receive from the legislature this last session $14 million for a new life sciences building. This is intended to replace the Gale Life Sciences building that will eventually come down. The new life sciences building will go where the trade and technology building is, right next to the library, just east of the library. So that will necessitate us tearing down the trade and technology building before we can start construction. We're in the process right now of soliciting a naming gift to go along with the $14 million from the legislature, and then we'll bond for the rest just because we can't wait. We need to get the building going. It's critical to the health sciences mission that we have, that we need a functioning and state-of-the-art life sciences building. So the plan will be late spring of 2026 into summer, the trade and technology building will be brought down with the hope and goal that we will break ground for the life sciences building mid to late fall 2026 with an anticipated entry into the building fall of 2029. We have approval from DFM. In fact, we're out to bids right now for architects and project leads for that project. So we'll start doing programming for it late this summer into a fall. That will be a significant building project for us. That'll be approximately $130 million building that will be built on that spot. First academic building to be built on Idaho State's Pocatello campus since the Rendezvous building was built. So it's been over 20 years since an academic building has been built, and it is time. So we are excited about that. Some other building projects that will be going on this fall in the basement of the Roy F. Christensen building. If you're familiar with that building, there's a basement where you can get to from the backside right along the hill. We'll be tearing out that basement, and that's where our physician assistant expansion will go, and that will be a brand new center for our PA program. We received legislative funds for that last year, and it's taken a year to go through all of the planning and development stages, but that project should start this fall as well. So we are excited. My goal is to get a crane on campus because not only do we need buildings and we need facilities, and we have some buildings that need some TLC, I want the community to know that we're a dynamic institution, that we're growing. I want people to drive by I-15 and see a crane there and know that things are happening at Idaho State. Things are happening in this community. It's an exciting time to be here, and I think it's just critical to our success. So we're moving forward with those things. Some other things that are happening of note: we have a new dean for our College of Science and Engineering, Dean Jim Whitman. Will be starting on August 1st. That was the search that took about a year to find the right person for our College of Science and Engineering. We're also searching for 2 new deans this fall for our College of Business. We congratulate Dean Shane Hunt for his moving to Oklahoma to become a president there, and we are excited for him. But we'll be searching for a College of Business dean, as well as a dean of our graduate school this fall as well. We would love to invite you and make you aware of ISU Celebration Week. This is a tradition at Idaho State. Every September we have a week where we celebrate the institution, We celebrate and show appreciation to our students, faculty, and staff. We're adding a dimension this year where we're inviting the community to be involved as well. So in addition to the student, faculty, and staff appreciation events that we will hold that week, which is the week of September 15th, in addition to that, on that Friday, September 19th, we'll be doing a community food truck block party in our brand new parking lot at the Student Union building. And we'll invite all of the community to come and let ISU show our gratitude to the community and come and celebrate this great institution. That same day, earlier in the day, will be the ribbon cutting for Leonard Hall, our College of Pharmacy. And can I tell you, it is an amazing renovation to take a building as old as that was completely gutted on the inside. You will walk in and you will not recognize the building. It is beautiful, it's stunning, and it's very fitting for ISU's College of Pharmacy that is now over 100 years old. It's a fitting home to that college, and it's going to be just a real gem for our institution. So we will make sure that you commissioners have the invitations to that ribbon cutting event that will be earlier that day on that Friday, the 19th. Homecoming this fall will be a little later. Last year, if you remember, we had an earlier homecoming, which was great because the weather was fantastic. This year, it's a little later. It is October 25th. And it will be against Northern Arizona. So we invite you, of course, to the festivities for homecoming and come out to football games. We've tried to be as liberal as we can in letting the community know and getting discount tickets out. We want to fill up the dome for all of our games. It's an exciting time. All of our student athletes, our sports teams this fall are looking really, really good. And we think we're going to have a great fall. But we want to fill the dome with lots of fun tailgating and some other antics and exciting things that the president might be doing during the football games too. So come and find out what those things will be. And then just lastly, I want to just reiterate the 5 areas that we're focused on through this next year. These are the 5 areas that I announced during my inaugural almost now a year ago, but we're continuing on with these things because we think they're critical to what we do as an institution. The first is enrollment growth and student success. Like I said, we want to grow. We can grow. Besides our beds, we have the capacity, not only here in Pocatello, but in Idaho Falls, on our Meridian campus, as well as in Twin Falls too. And so my expectation is we grow. And I think it's right for this community. It's right for Southeast Idaho. Academic and research focus as well. This last year, we were recognized, continue to be recognized as a Research 2 institution for high research activity. It's a challenging time right now with the federal government, a little bit of instability on the research funding side, but we're continuing. In fact, our research expenditures are up. The grants that we are receiving are up compared to this time last year. So great research is being done. So we are excited about that. We're adding new programs that fit and are important to the communities that we serve. So on the academic side, we're being very, very focused there. The third area is advancing and enhancing physical infrastructure, like I outlined. We're going to be very aggressive. We have to be. We have some real needs, and we'll be strategic, we'll be deliberate, we'll be careful, but we're going to move. It's important that we get some things done on our campus here. We have great goals. Our Meridian campus, we have 23 acres there for our health sciences campus that will be a focus for us as well as Idaho Falls. The last is employee engagement, empowerment, and connection. We understand, and I understand and appreciate the greatest asset that Idaho State University has is our people. Incredible people. We will be, this fiscal year that just started July 1st is the first time in over 5 years that we are operating in the black. We took care of the structural deficit, and we achieved and took care of that a year ahead of schedule. I give credit to my predecessor, President Satterley, who started the institution down a path of filling that deficit and taking care of it. I'm very, very proud of the things that he did and all the things that our faculty and staff did through a lot of sacrifice. But we're in the black today. And we hope to be in the black next year. It's year to year. This is a challenging time for higher ed, both at the state as well as the federal side, but we're working hard. But we need to take care of our people. We want to retain the outstanding people that we have. We want to go out and find great people and recruit them and bring them here. So that's a real focus for us as well. So we want to be good stewards. We want to be good contributors to this county. We want to serve the county. We want to serve you. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Cool. I got two real quick. Number one, what has been the impact of launch on your continued growth? And then number two, what would be one really cool program success that, as we go out in the community and talk about the great things ISU is doing, is there a program that has an incredible success that the community doesn't know that we can talk about?
Sure. Thank you very much, Chair, for that question. Launch has been incredibly important. Idaho State University and Lewis Clark State College are the two four-year institutions in the state that in addition to offering bachelor's degrees, we also offer associates and technical certificates. Boise State and U of I do not do that. And because of our size compared to Lewis Clark, what that means is we have the most programs that qualify for launch of any institution in the state. It is incredibly important to us. We had over 700 students last fall benefit from launch. We'll look and see what the numbers are this fall. But it's been incredibly important. It's something that we've advocated, that I have advocated for at the legislature, and will continue to do so because it's bringing students in at both the bachelor level as well as the tech, as well as the associate's degree and the tech and the technical level as well. These are programs that students are using launch funds and getting into jobs within a year or two. Some are staying, of course, and working on a bachelor's degree, but many are getting into jobs within a year or two, so it's having an immediate impact. We've been advocating to keep launch going for at least a couple more years so we can continue to collect data and see exactly what that impact is. We think that it's important, but we need to keep it going in order to be able to measure that impact. I would say, as far as programs go, we are very, very focused on the health science mission. We know that there is continues to be an extreme shortage of healthcare work in the healthcare workforce in this state. We are doing all that we can to not only add new programs like our nurse anesthetist program and our psychology doctorate program to help with mental health, but we're expanding the programs that we do have, like our PA program that I had mentioned. So I would ask and invite that you continue to talk about the great job. We've, since the 1960s, Idaho State University has been designated as the health science institution for the state. We take it seriously, and we've not let down our guard, and we've not slowed down. Pedal to the metal when it comes to health science programs, and our relationship with ICOM is incredibly important, and we'll continue to grow that. But there's a lot of need, whether it's nurses, radiologists, whatever it is, it's incredibly important. The second program, if I could talk about our area that really impacts eastern Idaho as well, is our relationship with INL. Earlier this year, we were the first Idaho institution to sign a super agreement. That's not a description, that's actually an acronym. But it's a special agreement with INL to where we become very, very close partners in critical areas. For us, that's critical and strategic materials, in addition to the nuclear engineering that we've been doing with INL. We have the most joint faculty appointees of any institution at I, and now number of so many ISU graduates end up working at INL. So that's something, that's an area that we're very, very proud of too. And it's an area of growth. Not a lot of people realize and to know that Idaho State University is one of only a handful of institutions in the country that have a nuclear reactor on our campus.
Yeah.
And it was just updated and outfitted this summer with all that's happening on the nuclear energy side. That is something that this federal administration is very, very interested in. I think the state of Idaho and Idaho State University, with our experience on the small modular nuclear reactors and that alternative energy source, positions Idaho State and Eastern Idaho very, very well going forward to make a tremendous impact there.
Cool. I'm excited about that. Thank you. Any other questions?
I got a couple of them. One of the ongoing issues between Pocatello and ISU is transportation and parking. And I know, it seems like we talked to the PRT that we're not actually shuttling students anymore to help alleviate some of our parking issues. What can we do? I know it's frustrating for all of us if we try to go to the college campus to even find a parking spot.
Yeah.
And I'm sure our problem of it is up and down Fifth Street and everything else, we're parking all over the place. What can we do, and have we got anything that we can help with that parking and transportation?
That's a very good question. Thank you, Commissioner. In fact, it was one of the topics that I discussed with Mayor Blatty in my last one-on-one with him. We'd be interested in exploring some additional routes, PRT routes, on and around our campus. It's my understanding, although I wasn't here, but it was my understanding that during COVID, a few of the routes, and it's understandable why, but some of the routes were discontinued. Those routes have been slow to come back. I've heard from my staff, from our staff council, our institutional staff council, saying that they're looking for more public transportation and a way to get around campus easier as they have to park farther away. So that's something we're very, very interested in exploring. And I mentioned to the mayor that we would love to be able to do all that we can to see additional routes happen. As we move into this building phase, we have to think of parking. And that's always a really critical area on any campus that I've served. Parking ranks right up there with pain points. And so our master plan that we just completed, our 25-year master plan, envisions additional parking and how we balance growth and new buildings with parking and access. So it's in our plan, but for the immediate future, I hope we can explore some additional public transportation routes.
Okay. My other question of it is you could address it quickly, how are we doing with online students? That has to be on the rise as well. And then the secondary question of it is, are we keeping locals from going to somewhere else? What are we doing to keep members of Bannock County coming
Sure.
to ISU, or even other counties as well? It always seems to be a battle that we have.
Absolutely. So the first question about online, yes. So I have in my professional career, I've spent a number of years administering online programs, and so it's something I'm very familiar with. We have a very aggressive plan to grow online at Idaho State. I think that we have a very good online presence right now, and I credit our colleges and departments for doing that. It came about organically, and of course it grew during COVID. It needs to be organized. We need to rethink that, so I've done a strategic hire and brought someone in that's going to help us do that. The first is we have transformed the Albion Center that started in our College of Education, focused on professional education for teachers. That has been transformed. It's called the Albion Institute now, and that was going. institute is going to move now into other fields beyond the College of Education. And eventually, we will use that institute to organize and more centrally administer all of the online programming that we have. It'll take us a couple years. Online programming has to be part of our strategy, and it will be. It's not only a way for us to provide access to our incredible programs, but it's just what we have to do as we look at diversifying the tuition rev, the new sources that we need. So the next couple of years, I think you'll see great things there. As far as keeping residents here, when it comes to the 17 and 18-year-olds, sometimes that can be a challenge because they always want to go away. They want to go away from home. And so we continue to be aggressive in our recruiting efforts in the high schools to convince many of them to stay, that it's a great institution. They've been in this community, they know it, but come experience it on campus. So we're, of course, not slowing down our efforts there, but where I think we can make an immediate impact and continue in the community is with our non-traditional students, with the population that maybe needs to retool. Maybe they need a certificate, maybe they need to come back and get a degree. So our College of Technology is growing its programs to be able to allow to do that. It's offering more certificates and different endorsements where people in the community who just need a little bit of help or want to take that step up or qualify for that raise or qualify for that promotion or maybe change careers, they can come to out of Idaho State in a really efficient way to do that. That's how I think we're going to keep the non-traditional students and the population here.
Thank you. Great job.
My turn.
Yeah, that's right.
Was you able to be in town on the 4th of July?
Was I?
In Pocatello area, in Bannock County?
So I got invited, so I did the parade. We did the parade, got a little wet. We did the parade here in Pocatello, but then my wife and I were invited to Idaho Falls to the Melaleuca celebration. I will admit, we were quite excited to see the fireworks here, but we got that invitation at the last minute and felt compelled to do that.
Well, I'm extending an invitation right now to be here next year.
Okay.
It's the 250th anniversary.
Wonderful.
Birthday of the United States of America. And so I'm kind of going to head that up as a committee in Bannock County, and we're talking with the symphony right now.
Wonderful.
And they're going to perform the final number and then they'll perform their final number, and then the fireworks will start.
I think it's fantastic.
That's our goal. So anything else that ISU would like to be involved with and stuff like that, I can talk to you and see who you'd like to
Please,
put over
yeah,
that.
that's, if we can get involved, if there's a committee, if we can have representation on that committee, we would love to be involved.
Okay.
But I would love to be able to experience it. It's time that I experience it here. And what a better time than with that celebration. So
And
that's
it's also the
fantastic.
250th anniversary of the different branches of the military
Yeah.
this year. So
Well, we would love, if you want to reach out again, if there's a committee or multiple committees, I would love for Idaho State University to be involved and to participate in anything that we can do to add our faculty, our staff, the facilities that we have the expertise, we would love to participate. So I would say, please let me know what we can do.
we'll do that. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
It's always
you.
a pleasure to see you.
Thank you. If there's anything that you need, please don't hesitate to reach out. But once again, we appreciate your support.
All right, thank you, President.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
Chief? Can you top that?
I cannot.
Well, he's got a PowerPoint.
Always, always great to hear him and talking about the good things that are going on at ISU. So, good morning, Commissioners. Ryan O'Hearn, Bannock County Ambulance District and Pocatello Fire. I'm excited to kind of give you an update on the ambulance service. Today I thought I'd kind of focus on just our call volume and what that looks like throughout the county and our different regions. As you know, Bannock County's a large county. I think, probably about 60 miles long, and so we're tasked with providing EMS service across that entire area in some population centers and in some rural areas, which brings some challenges. Starting kind of with the first slide, our call volume over the last 10 years is up about 35%. So we are seeing an increase annually. We usually see about a 3 to 5% increase in our call volume. And so it continues to rise. It is really rising more rapidly in our northern areas, and that would probably be areas north of Pocatello. The call volume in Chubbuck and North Bannock County is up disproportionately to the rest of it. So about 37% rise in call volume just in those northern areas. So we're seeing a lot of the north area of the county is really driving that increase in call volume.
Well, there's an assisted living on every corner.
That's what I was going to say. Is that due to all the assisted livings out there?
Yeah, that certainly is one of the factors, and we do have some programs to try to address that. I'll talk about those maybe at the end. But that's something that we're preparing for too, because as the baby boomer generation retires and is transitioning, one of the things that I think is really going to affect our service is those that are in assisted living centers and those that choose to stay and age in place at home. And certainly that is driving our call volume. Just on that note, our highest call nature that we go on, 15% of our call volume is for falls. And so that's something that we will focus, preventative efforts on, fall prevention campaigns, stuff like that, to try to decrease that. But it is a challenge. I kind of broke a little bit of it and show you a look at the county. About 19% of the call volume happens north of Pocatello in the Chubbuck and North Bannock County area. 75% would be the central area, kind of in Pocatello. And then about 6% of the call volume is south of the gap in what we'll call South County. There's kind of a heat map there that really shows the density, and you can see that it is in the population centers of Pocatello and Chubbuck predominantly. I know when we did our presentation for the budget, we talked just briefly about call volume and how it varies month to month, hour to hour during the day, and maybe even days of the week. We don't really see a big swing. You can see we did a month-to-month analysis, and it's pretty consistent month to month in the county. We see a spike from about 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., so the daytime hours are about twice as busy or more than the nighttime hours. So we do have some peak times. And that adds challenges when you look at kind of call overlapping, things like that, where you have multiple calls occurring at one time. We do have 3 advanced life support ambulances in the north area that are all stationed up here. And there's frequently times when all 3 of those are out and we're dipping into reserve ambulances, which are staffed. We have 4 reserve ambulances in the city, and those are staffed with Pocatello Fire personnel. So a good relationship there, having EMS and fire together. And days of the week is the same. We don't really see a lot of variability throughout the county when we take the high call volume areas into account. So countywide, we average 22 calls per day, and over half the time we're running concurrent calls, so 2 or more calls. And about 30% of the time we have 3 or more calls. And so that's where you start to see strains on the system, because you've got those overlapping calls. It would be nice if we'd finish one call and then another one would come in, but we don't always have the ability to control that. So when we talk about calls, sometimes it's hard to understand how that impacts. And so what we measure is called unit hour utilization. And that's the amount of time that our crews or our units are assigned to a call to an emergency response. And so each ambulance averages about 5 hours per day assigned to an emergency call. And that doesn't take into account other things such as the time that the crews are taking to write reports or to do training, to do maintenance on equipment and vehicles. And so they're busy. And as that call volume continues to rise, that busyness factor continues to increase. And then I also wanted to kind of do a little bit of a breakout, similar to what I just showed you for the county, but really just focus on South County, because I know with the McCammon Fire Station and during our budget presentation, we presented some different options to look at staffing in South County. And so when we look at that, it is about 6% of the overall call volume of the service. The busiest zone is that central zone that encompasses Lava and McCammon. It's busiest, almost about half of the call volume in South County is in that central zone of Lava and McCammon. And they do, unlike the overall county, we do kind of see a spike in the Lava and McCammon zone in the summers, just due to the influx of tourism, and the other call volume in the other areas seems to stay relatively stable. They don't see that spike in the summer. And that's reflected kind of in that month by month. You see that July and August and June are pretty busy times. And that's primarily driven by that increase in that Lava zone. Oops, I'm going the wrong way here, sorry. We see about the same thing in South County as we do in the rest of the county. The busiest hours of the day are during the daytime. And so that lends to some of the proposals we included in our budget presentation, the possibility of maybe looking at a peak hours ambulance to try to take care of that busiest time. And so that's one of the options that we can consider. And then we did briefly talk also about days of the week, and as you can see, we do see a spike in South County on Friday and Saturday. The latter half of the week, Wednesday through Saturday, kind of seems to be the busy time, with Sunday probably being the slowest call volume day down there. When we look at just overall kind of a snapshot of the statistics for South County, we average 1 to 2 calls per day in South County. We see fewer overlapping calls in South County. About 10% of the time, we have 2 concurrent calls in South County. So overlap is not as big an issue down there. And then one of the struggles that we're having, although it is improving in some areas, is the ability for our volunteers to staff ambulances. They're very dedicated, and they've been serving South County for many years. But increasingly, I don't know if it's a factor that the workforce is changing and more people are working, maybe both members of the household are working, or whether childcare is driving it. But increasingly, we have some out of service time by some of those units. And it varies unit to unit, but that does affect response as well, because then you have the length of time that it takes to get a unit from the north area down south. And then even when those units are in service, one of the challenges is getting advanced level providers there quickly, paramedics, for things like chest pains, heart attacks, strokes, things like that, time-sensitive emergencies that require that advanced level care. So, just as President Wagner pointed out, you know, we are heavily focused on our people. We have amazing people in South County and in North County that serve our communities, and so we realize that is our greatest asset. We have some exciting things coming up where we're focused kind of on employee health. We're particularly looking forward to a class. We're bringing in a specialist next month that's going to focus on that intersection of sleep and how it affects our employees' health, because we know we run a 24/7 service, and getting adequate rest on and off shift is important for our individuals to continue to serve. So we're excited that that's coming up. We work very well with Chubbuck, and we're talking to them about what possibilities there are to maybe shift our response or our focus. And as I pointed out, there is that north Bannock zone that I'll call, north of Pocatello is really we're seeing a large increase in call volume there. And so that's something that we're looking at, as well as the South County issue is how to address that. We are changing some of our programs around that I think is going to be very efficient for us. We're changing our patient care reporting program to a system where all of our reporting will be under one sign-on, and so we think it's definitely going to lead to better data so that we can understand some of the things that are driving our service. And it also is going to provide us with a little bit of cost savings. So that's one measure that we're taking to try to control the ever-rising costs of doing business. So we're excited about that. That's going to take us a few months to implement, and we hope to be live on that at the beginning of the next fiscal year in October. So we're just started executing that this week. So it'll be a big task, but I think it'll be really good for our system. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Okay.
So I-15, a lot of your calls seem to be on the south end of the county. Have you noticed any increase with the construction?
I will say that we have had, an increase with that construction on the Flying Y. We've been on several wrecks out there, and so that has driven probably a little bit of call volume there. I'll try to drill down and really look at how the interstate impacts our call volume, but you can see from that heat map that it does kind of follow that transportation corridor. So.
I know out of Ingham, that's usually where our calls went, was on I-15.
Right.
Kim?
The assisted living thing, I think we just will brace ourselves. I think it's a culture change. Years ago, nobody went to the old folks' home, but anymore now, with Medicaid and Medicare, I think that's a more appealing option to people as they get older. So I think we do need to forward thinking of the increased number of assisted livings and how are we going to be able to serve them. So yeah. We've had that discussion, and I think it's the hammer coming around the corner that's going to drive our volume there.
I agree, and we have seen a lot of them being built, and I know that there are more that are in the works. I wanted to circle back. I appreciate you bringing that up, because we are working to address that. And I talked to our community risk reduction specialist this morning, and she's very talented, and we're very lucky to have her. About 10 years ago, 11.5% of our call volume was to assisted living centers for fall assists or help, or for other, not just for falls, but for other medical emergencies where patients needed care. And we've brought that number down to about 3.5%. And our community risk reduction specialist actually speaks nationally on some of the things that we've done to partner with these assisted living centers and go in and work with them on fall protocols and when to call 911 and when not to. And it's really decreased the demand that those are placing on the service. And so we continue to work with that, and we continue to try to stay ahead and not just be a response organization, but actually try to reduce risk and reduce calls. And so I'm proud of that effort, and we have had some success with that. There's still a lot of work to be done, but we are trying to stay ahead of that issue with the assisted living and nursing homes.
Follow up on that. That's interesting that you've been able to lower that call volume from 10% down to 3%.
Yeah.
Yet your heat map still shows a lot of stuff in that area. So what would happen if you went back up to 10%?
That would add quite a, if our call volume jumped 10% in 1 year, it would affect that call overlap, which would affect our ability to field all those concurrent calls.
So what's your thoughts then on a time frame for putting something in Chubbuck?
Well, I'd like to evaluate if not adding an ambulance in Chubbuck, I think in the next few years, we're going to be looking at probably another ambulance in the north area, regardless of what we do in south. I know right now there's a big focus on South County, and I fully support that and agree that that's where our efforts need to be right now. But I think in the not too distant future, we're going to be looking at something in north, whether that's another peak hours ambulance or some other component to help take care of some of this call volume.
I just, off the top of my head, wondering if as we talk about South County, staffing that like Wednesday through Saturday, could we then maybe look at bringing that in Monday through or Sunday through Tuesday?
Potentially,
To take, at least to test that north.
Yeah, you could potentially, if we had a full-time ambulance or even a peak hours, you could look at moving it around based on demand. There are some other programs that some agencies have used. There's a program called the Community Paramedic, where you're partnering with other healthcare providers, maybe not just paramedics, but maybe clinicians from the hospital setting or mental health workers or caseworkers to try to take care of some of this call volume from a prevention standpoint instead of just a response standpoint. And so we could evaluate whether we could find some partnerships in the community that would help reduce call volume for 911. It would help reduce maybe ER visits and hospital admissions. So we're interested in kind of exploring whether a community paramedicine program might be right for our community. So.
Interesting.
Just as a follow-up on that, having had that experience with my folks, I'm wondering if we need to work closer with these assisted living policies, because they have a policy, if anybody hits the floor, it's an automatic call to 911, even though they have staff that can evaluate and go, because I think sometimes those calls could be diminished if they had better awareness of the impact on that. And I know that's a policy for insurance purposes, but it is driving those calls to 911. And maybe we need to look at working with them to change that policy, that it isn't an automatic call to 911, that maybe their staff can do their own evaluating and do whatever before they immediately call.
Yeah, and that's kind of the what's behind this effort that we have ongoing with the assisted living centers. We meet with them and we try to get them to use their own resources. These facilities are required to have some kind of medical personnel at least available, if not on site, to deal with some of this. And so we're trying to get them to not just always default to 911.
Okay, that'd be a good effort. As many as we've got now, I can't imagine how many calls you guys get. Almost repeat. You just get back and you got to go back up for another one.
And not that every call for someone that's falling is happening at an assisted living center.
No,
right.
That happens in the home as well, but that's 15%. That's almost 1,200 calls a year just for people that have fallen. So it's
slid off
a
the
big
bed.
impact.
So,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Well, after spending a week in Philadelphia, call volume by the hour is pretty easy. They was going by the minute.
Yeah.
There are so many ambulances.
Yeah, some of those, I know some people that work in Philly, and that is a busy system.
We was around Chinatown and it was really narrow streets and ambulances everywhere.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah. Appreciate the data. Is that from the Dark Horse system? Or?
It is, yeah.
I was recognizing that. I was appreciating it.
Yeah, that's really been a powerful platform, and even in putting this together, they're very responsive, and we have a monthly call with them, and I was looking at some things that I'm going to ask them to see if they can help us break that out even a little bit more. So it's been a really good program.
Cool.
Is there one way you could track demographics? For instance, age categories. It would be interesting to see how many of the ambulance calls are age specific. Older people living alone or whatever. It'd be interesting to see if they could track those. That somebody's capturing that data, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure that we can pull that out of our patient care reporting. I'll try to include that in my next update and focus. This one was kind of an overview of the system and where the calls are happening and when. And then next time, I'd like to kind of drill down into some of those more granular points about demographics and what's driving call volume, and even what types of facilities we're going to.
Cool.
Out of state, out of county?
Well,
Talk
that
about
which brings
Latimer.
that up, is that I-15 corridor, and like you say, ambulance calls to wrecks or whatever it be, hopefully you can capture non-residents of county versus residents, which would really drive the lava with the, it's a whole different town up there. But it would be interesting to look at those demographics, like age and also by where do they reside, and I'm sure they're capturing that, but that would be interesting for us to see as well.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Great
Thank you.
presentation.
Appreciate
today.
the opportunity.
I would say you were equal to ISU. You were not below. You were there. Nailed it.
Thank you.
Love the uniform. Got to have a uniform guy.
That's right. Matthew.
Matthew Phillips, HR and Risk Management Director. Just have before you insurance proposals for our big weekend concert in August. ZZ Top on August 14th, Darius Rucker on 8/15, and 3/11 on 8/16. These are all through Philadelphia Insurance, an A-rated insurance company, and just ask for your signature and approval so that we can get these concerts insured, or with additional insurance required by their contracts.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion that we go ahead and sign all 3 contracts, or have you sign all 3 contracts
Okay.
for the insurance.
We have a motion. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Thank you. Misty.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Misty Katslamias, Chief Deputy Treasurer. I guess I think I probably want to start off asking to go into executive session on this.
Yeah, I think we should. So I make a motion that we enter into executive session under Idaho Code 74-2061F to communicate with legal counsel.